skilful as he ever was, Darcy considered what they had viewed that day, while bringing his mount to a halt and dismounting. Bingley followed his example, stretching his legs to remove the cramps after having spent some time in the saddle. For a conversation such as this, Darcy thought it better to have solid ground beneath their feet, rather than the back of a horse, for inattention could lead to injury, or even worse.
"What I have seen of Netherfield does not displease me," said Darcy. "The estate is pretty enough, though, of course, that does not matter nearly so much as the state of its ability to provide a good home for you and your family."
"Of course," said Bingley, his mind on the house they had toured that morning. "As I recall, the house appears in good repair, with nothing amiss that I could see."
"It is, perhaps," said Darcy, "a little small for the size of the estate. But you are correct in that there was nothing wrong with the house."
Bingley made a face.
"I am certain Caroline will disagree with my assessments. Then again, her tastes tend toward dwellings that are more palatial." "With all due respect to your sister, Bingley," said Darcy, "you do not possess the means to purchase a palace. For that matter, I doubt I do myself."
"Caroline will be most disappointed to hear it," replied Bingley, a hint of hilarity staining his tone. Darcy shook his head, again pushing thoughts of Miss Bingley from his mind.
"If you will forgive my interference, Bingley, though it is right that you should consider her opinion, this will be your home. Therefore, the most important criteria you need to meet are your own."
"Well do I know it," agreed his friend, taking no offence, as Darcy had known he would not. "Of greater importance to the current discussion, Caroline has not visited a single estate that I toured, and thus cannot take offence if the place I choose is not to her liking."
"I see you perceive matters as I do,"
said Darcy with a laugh, drawing his friend into mirth with him.
"I do,"
exclaimed Bingley.
"Well, my sister possesses the singular ability to affect my happiness for the worst. I am not in the habit of allowing her such influence over me. In this matter, as with others, I shall act with my conscience in mind. Good for you, Bingley."
Though he would never say as much to his friend, Bingley's growing maturity heartened Darcy. Several years younger than he was himself, Darcy had at times despaired over his friend's ability to maintain a sober outlook on life, which was, after all, a serious business. For more than 2 years after his graduation from university, Bingley had drifted from one amusement to the next, never taking thought for his future, of his father's wish that he join the ranks of the landed. It had been a cherished wish for several generations of Bingley's tradesmen forebears, a responsibility that had fallen to the current scion with his father's untimely death. Bingley's determination to attend to that duty was a welcome development. In considering Bingley's recent improvement, the subject of the man's sister became unavoidable. Bingley had 2 sisters, ladies who appeared similar on the surface, but who were quite different. The eldest, a Mrs. Louisa Hurst, was a quiet, unassuming woman, whose most defining personal trait was her propensity to agree with her sister. While Darcy's opinion of Mrs. Hurst had long been fixed, subsequent observation had informed him that her opinions were not aligned with her sister so much as a desire for harmony led her to refrain from provoking her more forceful sibling. Should he come to know her, Darcy thought Mrs. Hurst would be a pleasant enough woman. Miss Bingley, on the other hand, was not so much pleasant as she was ambitious. While generations of Bingleys had possessed aspirations toward joining the gentleman class, Miss Bingley's desires rose to a much greater price. Darcy did not consider her completely reprehensible, for she was perfectly well behaved.